I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling. Squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion. They seeing double, they rushing and pass the shovel. The dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back. Never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag. I go full contact. Out punch, out kick like a shotgun blast on one out snap. It's a fact that I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, calling audible. Serving up them Hail Marys to the...
Whoa. Here we are. What's up? It is the Horseshoe Mob podcast. We are back for another episode of the Horseshoe Mob. Here with my boys tonight, Josh Sr. and Ryan. Gentlemen, what is going on? How are y'all doing?
I'm doing better.
Awesome.
I was sick for about 2 weeks.
We missed you for a few episodes there, Ryan. We're glad to have you back, though.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Josh, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm getting sick myself, but I'm feeling better, man. Things happen, the weather changing, and people got snow in places, and we don't have it here, thank God. But I managed to get to working back home, so we can talk about this new signing we got. But other than that, I'm great.
There we go. Yeah, we got a little bit of snow today, about a half an inch.
Okay.
And then it melted by like 10 o'clock. So that's kind of the story in our neck of the woods. At 10 it was done. And then, the roads were clear and we just went and got some dinner and came home, and here we are. All right,
Perfect.
Lots to talk about today, fellas. Colts have a new defensive coordinator. We will talk about, is he the guy? What needs to happen for him to not have a repeat of what I think the Colts fans have they have a lasting memory of what Lou Anarumo previously was, like in most of his current history, which is fair. But we should really sit down and say, is this really the right hire? And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, Stacy, how's it going? How are you? Of course, as always, fanbattlesports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest from the AFC South, including, of course, our Colts, the Texans, who still can't get out of the divisional round, the Titans, who still love Mayo, have the number one pick and don't know what to do with it, and the Jaguars, who like to not hire good coaches still. It becomes a trend. Get the latest and greatest from each show. Listen to the latest episodes. Read articles from all of us. FanBattleSports.com. Of course, if you're interested in starting your own show, visit the contact us link. Fill out your information. Let us know. You can have a beautiful setup just like this. FanBattleSports.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at Horseshoe Mob. Follow us on TikTok, Horseshoe Mob. We are back. We have not left. We were gone for 12 hours, but we have returned. So follow us on TikTok. And of course, like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. Help us grow the channel. We really appreciate it. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and start with some comments here. Hey, guys, Happy New Year. Oh, I see what you did there, Treat. Very, very good.
Like
Happy
that.
New Year to you, too. Hey, Josh, Sharish, and Ryan. I like the hire. So do we. And we will, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think feelings are the same. So I'm just assuming. But let's dig right into it. Of course, the Colts have a new defensive coordinator. Lou Anarumo, former defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals. I do want to kind of dive into this a little bit more, but on its surface, what are your initial reactions? What are your initial thoughts?
On the surface, it's I didn't really care for the hire to begin with, but then like any sports fan in the world, I did a little bit more research, and I was more inclined to say, let's give this guy a shot. Okay, he's on the surface, you will see this guy as a type of a culture shift for that defense, and a defense that really needs that type of culture shift. There is going to be accountability on that defense massively, because that is what he expects from his team. Now, if you want to look at his past season, I get it, but he had, if we want to get back to it, Jesse Bates, he walked in free agency. That was his number one nickelback. And if you know anything about Anarumo, he really keys in on his on his nickelbacks. But he walked in the 20 after the 2022 postseason. So that really changed everything about the coordination of his back end, which dictated the way he was going to deploy his linebackers, which also impacted the aggressiveness and disguises of his pressure packages. That it just fell apart this season with it really just fell apart like a lawn chair folding, and it's
Yeah.
what the Colts risked all season this last season by not bringing in a difference maker safety for Bradley. So it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I could go on, but basically, this is going to be this is either going to be this the same defense that he had last season if Ballard doesn't bring in the people that we know that he needs to bring it. He's going to have to fork over money and actually spend in free agency. If he doesn't, then this defense will end up being the same type of defense that we see right this season.
Thoughts, Josh?
I agree with what Ryan said. I mean, initially, um, we all thought about Dennis Allen on top of all this, for as being the top DC guy to replace Gus Bradley. But I also had reserved thoughts about Lou being on there. I think I mentioned that on the previous episode for us Lou and what he did with the Bengals and his defense, how they perform against top quarterbacks and in their percentages. I didn't break down that last week, but just the numbers speaks for itself. When you lose, Jesse Bates, his captain on defense. I think he lost Woozy, the cornerback, I think number 1 and number 2 cornerback, lost him to the Titans. And he had lost other players to injuries throughout the season that led to his downfall as DC. In which people say Gus Bradley was a scapegoat in Indy. One could argue Lou was a scapegoat in Cincy. I mean, when things didn't go right, they went straight to him and let him go. It could be, what the saying is, one man's trash, the other man's treasure. It could be a treasure for us, getting him on our team. I don't want to overstate this, but we got to have the guys on our defense to support what he does for us being aggressive. Limit those elite quarterbacks to those low percentages. We got a quarterback in our division that is really good at dicing up the defense. You got one that's pretty much mid. He's making $230 million, but he is he can't sling the ball. He just having issues having 3 different quarterbacks. I mean, head coaches, soon to be 3 different head coaches once they sign a head coach, but just having a new DC after 3 years of the same zone defense, allowing chunk yards after chunk yards after chunk yards. Yeah, we always say the defense was being, but don't we don't break. But that defense was pretty ass. I don't care who we had on our defense, because Bradley allow us to get cooked every Sunday, every Saturday, or every Thursday, and it was just pathetic to see a different voice on our defense. This is something that we all should be thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's well said. I think there's a couple things to keep in mind here. Like, number one, don't let this past season cloud your judgment on Lou Anarumo, right? Josh already alluded to it. When your only defensive weapon is Trey Hendrickson, offenses don't have to worry about linebackers, having exotic blitzes. But he still did a lot of that stuff, right? There's even with the lack of personnel, Lou's going to bring in some different looks, coverage wise, linebacker blitzes, putting linebackers in different spaces. To me, when we made a defense coordinator hire, I think one of the big key things that I think Ballard would have to give in on is if I'm going to come in and be your DC and put my essentially career at risk because I don't know what's going to happen to you after this year, I get a say in the personnel. This is no longer you get a say in the personnel. I get a say in the personnel. And I think two things have changed here. Number one, this is a Shane Steichen hire. This is not a Chris Ballard hire. I think that's the most important thing to think about. This was a fully Shane Steichen hire, right? Chris Ballard was really hands off in this process from what I've read. That's a good sign. Number two, it allows this person to come in and say, these guys aren't going to cut it. Like I think Latu and Kenny Moore are your two winners of this pickup, right? Latu is going to soar in this defense. I think Kenny Moore is going to as well, and I think Josh already alluded to it. And then personnel's got to change. Forget about accountability for a second, right? Accountability is second. Do we even have the right guys to run the scheme? Because the scheme is going to be completely different. And my answer right now is no. So I don't think we have the right guys. We have pieces, but I don't think we have the right guys. I think we need a more athletic safety. I think we need linebackers that can cover and move in space, which we don't have. And then I think you need a second defensive edge rusher that can help bring pressure off the edge. That's what this defense is about. If you look at the film, right? So I think there's still questions to be remain. I think Lou is the right hire. I think I'm not. He was third on my list of three, right? So I'm not disappointed at the hire. Obviously, I wanted Dennis Allen. I wanted Wink Martindale. I think those, and then Lou Anarumo was probably three. But there's no doubt that with the right pieces, Lou Anarumo can be successful. He was the key piece to the Bengals getting to the Super Bowl. People forget about that. That's only 2 years ago. Really, 2 years ago at this time, the Bengals were playing in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. And spoiler alert, they beat them.
They did.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is a good hire on paper, but it's to me, it still comes down to Chris Ballard. Is he going to change? Is he going to allow for flexibility of money that's not his and actually utilize it? And that's what it really comes down
to. He's going to be the one that allows this move to be either a bust or successful. Yeah. You don't get a guy, you don't get a guy that's, have that track record that he has. And then you say, hey, well, work with the guys that you have, on your staff. I'm not saying that, Sam Womack is not a good cornerback. I'm not saying Juju not. I'm not saying we already know what Kenny Moore is. I'm not saying Jalen Jones is not, but he can elevate those guys' game. We just got to add more guys on that back end. And like I said, linebackers as well, they know how to cover. The podcasters can't cover. They're just tacklers. We need guys that can cover a tight end and pretty much cover a running back as well on the flats. So
I have a hot take. I have a hot take. I don't think either podcasters will be back next year. I don't think you re-sign EJ, right? And I think they try to find a way out of Zaire's contract. They trade him away, do something. They're gonna try to get out of the those two are just not fast enough for this defense, and they just don't fit, right? They just don't fit the scheme.
Damn, hell no, I don't want that job.
Any of y'all want the Jags job? Although I'd probably be smarter than the Jags GM, I want
nothing. My friend played with Lou last year in Cincy. Geno Stone, yeah. I mean, that's a good. Yeah, that's. I mean, that'd be a good pickup. Having good pickup. The guy from the Jets, Reed. Is it Reed number 4? That safety. He might cost a lot.
I haven't really. There's only like a handful of names in free agency that I've dug into that I'm interested in, and I don't remember Reed being
one. I mean, if you really think about Anarumo's defenses, they are a very aggressive defense, and this is exactly what the Colts need because they ranked 26th in sacks and 22nd in pressure rate as a defense this past season. Under Bradley this season, the Colts typically rank near the bottom of the NFL in blitz rate as well. But the Bengals in 2024 were 12th in that category, even with all the missing pieces that they had this past season. In 2023, they ranked 14th. So if there's one thing you can expect from this DC is
It will
a
blitz.
more aggressive defense. But just like you said, do not dismiss what he did in 2022. They had a top 5 scoring defense, which included them being particularly good against the run. Another weakness that the Colts had this season.
Correct.
Now, finishing 5th in yards per carry allowed in that season. You know what? Another player that they had to let go was DJ Reader. He ended up going to the Lions. Like that was another key piece that the Bengals lost. So he was really dealing with a team that just lost plentiful of good players on that defense, and he was just trying to make the pieces fit, and they just didn't have the pieces this year. But I'm kind of glad they didn't have the pieces, because otherwise he wouldn't be in this position to be taking this job.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Blue Nation. The guy that you named is definitely on my list. 100% on my list. 1,000%.
Oh,
Joseph Asai is 1,000% on this list. You talk about a guy that can get after the quarterback, Joseph Asai. I love Joseph Asai. Not because it has nothing to do with the fact that he was a Longhorn, but it also does have to do with the fact that he fits this scheme perfect. Like what Joseph Osai brings on the edge is exactly what we need on the other side of Latu. Like you need a guy with speed, you need a guy that's going to get after the quarterback, and you need a guy that's going to put the offensive line at pressure points that they haven't experienced. Because if you can get that on both ends, then what you can do with your linebackers and what you can do with your coverage and disguising coverages completely changes. The key to this defense is great edge play, and Joseph Osai is 1,000% on that list of guys that I really want in this defense, and I'm hoping Anarumo knows that. Not that I have a say, but yes,
somebody did.
I would love Joseph Osai. I would love him.
A fan did mention that there's a Trey come in with the package, Trey Henderson. I was like, well, hey, that solves everything.
Great.
Cincinnati trading the guy for nothing.
They're not trading him. He's not a free agent. And even if you do, what are you giving up to get that guy? Like, you're going to have to give up some firsts and seconds. Like, and then you have to pay him on top of that. Probably an extension, right? Because I think he's only got, is he a free agent?
I think it's 2 more years. I think it's 2 more.
So is it 26, 27? Yeah, he's a free agent next year. And he's 30, and by that time he'll be 32. Is that even worth it at that point? Like, if you were gonna get a guy like Trey Hendrickson, that like his last contract would have been that big contract. I don't know if you pay a 32-year-old more than $20 million. So that would be that's kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Anthony Walker, he's 29. He's gonna be a
29.
Yeah, 29. You got Aziz Al-Shair, he's 27.
I like him.
You got let's see,
linebackers.
Drew Tranquil from the Chiefs. He's 29. He's a UFA. Let's see some other ones.
You know who would be good?
Jordan Hicks. He's not bad. He's a UFA, but he's a little bit older too. That's really what you're going to be battling here. Quan Alexander. He's 30. He's a UFA.
Yeah.
What about Hassan Reddick? Is he going to be available? I know he just did. He didn't resign.
He will be available. He will be available. He's currently listed as a free agent. The guy I really like on this list that I'm looking at free agents, Clavion Chason. I think would be excellent. The former Jaguars linebacker.
He did pretty good.
But I think Clavion plays in a 3-4 traditionally. I don't know how he translates to a 4-3. So you also have to think about like who's like good in coverage because you're going to need linebackers that are good in coverage. And I don't know Devondre Campbell maybe. I don't know. Like I'm kind of got to sit down and look at these guys because a lot of these guys are like, man, that's a really good linebacker, but they played majorly in a 3-4 defense. So
Yeah, we got a lot of options. And you can go into the draft, like the Jahai Campbell from Alabama. Not because the Alabama guy, but he's pretty good as far as bringing pressure to the quarterback, and he's got a high motor like Latu. But he's a linebacker, so
do you guys know the scheme that Anarumo runs? Like, are you guys familiar with the scheme?
it's a 4-3.
Yeah.
So it is a 4-3. It is a base 4-3. I think the one thing that you probably Colts Nation, Blue Nation need to be like familiar with is it's an aggressive 4-3 defense, right?
Right.
It's not a pin your. It's not a it's a get to the pass rusher blitz. You're going to see a lot. You're not going to see a lot of blitzing, but you're going to see more blitzing. But on the back end, there's a lot of exotic coverages. We'll probably do a lot more cover shells like on the back end. What's the word I'm looking for? Disguising your coverages. Like you'll see a lot of that stuff, right? So there's a little bit more creativity in it, but it is a base 4-3, predicated around really, I think, three main positions: the edge, corners, and safeties. Like a dynamic safety is really important in this defense. You think like Jesse Bates, a guy like that is really important for the success of this defense. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Alrighty.
Look out
Speaking
for
of
Drake
personnel-
Greenlaw, by the way.
What?
Look out for Drake Greenlaw, by the way. He's the top free
Drake
agent for
Greenlaw,
linebackers.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. 49ers might not be able to afford him because they got to pay Purdy.
If they're even wanting to do that, right? I mean, it's only his third year, right?
Yeah.
Who Purdy?
And
I mean, they don't have to pay him. Well, I guess you got to plan now, right?
I mean, he's the last pick of the draft, so he's up for a contract.
This
next
was
year,
his
right?
worst
Because
year.
He doesn't get a 5th-year option, so it's after next year they have to pay him. Oh, that's
They could tag him, of course, but that's an expensive tag.
yeah, literally. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Now we'll talk a little bit personnel. We've mentioned some names, in free agency already, right? Are there any guys in the draft as we look at like we think about what this defense is? Are there any guys in the draft that look interesting to you?
I'm gonna go ahead and start out with the safety from Georgia. Is Malachi Starks.
Okay.
I like that guy, and I think the cornerback from Notre Dame, who lost by the way, but the
Xavier
cornerback
Watts.
from Yep.
Xavier Watts would be great. I think Malachi Starks would be awesome. Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas, like that's another guy that would be really good. Hard hitting, can cover a big chunk of the field. Like those, like that's if you look at those three guys, like those are like you need athletic freaks like that can move around on the field, tackle very well, play in coverage, play the ball in all sorts of different spaces. That's like your prototypical safety that you're looking at. Ryan, anybody else you can think of?
I mean, not really. Those are really the top picks I would go after, but I would like to add. You're basically going to have to pick your poison.
Yeah.
Do you want that tight end, Tyler Warren? Basically, that's going to be it. I mean, when he in his last game against Notre Dame, you could see how just monstrous he was, especially on the freaking yak. He just gets after it. And it's 100% every single play. I didn't see him take off anything. Or are you going to go after Malachi Starks? Also a need. You're going to have to pick your poison here. And I really hope that the Colts organization and Chris Ballard as a whole do their due diligence, because do not screw this up. Because if you pick the wrong player or you trade back like you do in every single draft, you're going to set the Colts back again.
No, we ain't trading back.
And we can't do that.
Oh, we're not trading back.
No.
We're not trading back.
Never
I
say
can tell
never
you
with that boy.
I mean, he didn't do it
Fair
last
enough, fair
year.
enough.
He didn't do it last year, but I get what you're saying. You just never know to accrue more picks. I would say this here. I know you say pick your poison. It's gonna be tough. I guess we would just depending on what the 13 other teams ahead of us, what they do. If
Right.
they do pick Tyler Warren, then we had no choice but to get a defensive player. But if he's there, I know a lot of people saying go offense, but you got to see it right now. That's wants his guy. He wants his guy that he can groom on defense. It's hard. It's hard to go against that. We went defense last year with Latu. They possibly could do it again, but I think if Tyler Warner on there, I think it's hard to mess that up. It's hard. I mean, the Raiders didn't even need Brock Bowers, but look what happened.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs is not eligible this year, right?
No,
Caleb
he's a
Downs doesn't come
sophomore.
out till next year. He's just a sophomore, right?
Yeah, just sophomore.
Yeah, one more year.
I mean, really, what you could end up doing is like let's say at spot 11, that somebody takes Tyler Warren, right? Well, in the second round, you could actually go after Fannin from Bowling Green, get Malachi
100%.
Starks, because I like Fannin too, but
Yeah.
I just like Tyler Warren more. Man,
Well,
he gets after it.
The Texas Longhorns got a good tight end as well too.
I was gonna say, man, I want two bone horn, but we finally got some talent that we could throw out there. Gunnar Helm would be awesome in this offense. Just saying.
Yeah.
He's already played in it. A very similar offense. In an offense where Anthony Richardson needs a tight end. Gunnar Helm would come in. It doesn't matter. You can get Helm, you can get Fannin, you can get Tyler Warren. They would instantly be the best tight end.
Yep.
I don't know. Nobody's gonna. You're not gonna convince me anything else, right? You cannot.
I mean, there's also Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. He's
okay. Yeah.
I mean, he's solid. He missed a year last season because he tore his ACL. But they also weren't in a passing offense this season. So I mean, you could go many different options. There's probably
so many
5 really good tight ends in this draft in the first round that are probably, first to second round comparable.
Here's what I would say about Tyler Warren that separates him from everyone else. If Tyler Warren is there at 13, I think you have to take him.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
You can if you listen, Chris. If you pass on Tyler Warren and he's there, turn your keys in, bro. And I don't use the word generational talent a lot. I think Tyler Warren is a generational talent. He is a generational tight end. Like that guy is insane. And he can do everything. He can run it, he can catch it, he can throw it, he can block. Like you're getting everything that you need in one position. And you know what? You might even be able to get 2 tight ends in this draft. Right? Because Harold Fannin can go in the second round. Gunnar Helm isn't going to go until the 4th round. Now we'll see how he tests. But he's currently projected to be like a 4th round pick. I would anticipate he goes day 2, which would be like 3rd round, in my opinion. Gunnar Helm's going to test really well because he's also very good. He's also very big. But you have to get Tyler Warren because you have to rebuild this tight end room because it's atrocious, right? So if Tyler Warren is there, that is the pick. Like I tried to fight against it for a long time. I just can't.
It's tough, bro.
I no longer can.
It's tough, bro.
We are so desperate at the tight end. And Anthony Richardson desperately needs somebody that he can just quickly hand the ball off to and throw to when he's in trouble. And he does not have that right now. So I think if Tyler Warren's there, you have to take Tyler Warren. But you can get Xavier Watson in the 2nd round. Probably get Andrew Makuba in the 3rd round. So there's a couple other guys out there at the safety position that you can take. Luke Lachey. Who does Luke Lachey play for?
I'll pull it up.
I can't remember who he plays for. And I'm gonna be honest with you, for like 95% of the season, I didn't think there was very good
So
tight ends
Iowa.
in this class. I don't want
Plays.
anybody from Iowa offense. Sorry.
Oh man.
And no offense, bro. I want nobody from an Iowa offense. Sorry.
Hey. Hold
yeah.
on. I ain't mean to interrupt you. But didn't Dallas Clark come from Iowa? Even though he's on
Bro, that
defense.
was in like 1922. Bro, this is like
Oh my
this is
gosh.
like 30 years later, man. What are we talking about? But no, I don't want anybody. If you're not an offensive lineman, don't care. But this is another position of need. You need a backup. You need a backup running back. I have now convinced myself that Quinshawn Judkins is our guy.
A guy from
After last
Ohio
night,
State? Hell yeah.
from Ohio State. That would be the perfect backup. He is basically JT, but can catch, and
That's what you
he's a
need.
guy that can hit the hole. And JT's really good. He's a really patient runner, but he's going to hit that hole immediately. And I think that's when you talk about the backup running back position and bringing more dynamics to a position. I think Quinshon Judkins would be great. I think Travion Henry, all these guys, Cam Scatteraboo, like this running back class is so deep.
See, that's one thing I don't agree with when it comes down to Cam. I don't think you get that type of guy add him to your team because he's more of a starter.
He's a bruiser. He's a bruiser, but he can also catch out of the backfield, which is something
we saw that against Texas. Yeah.
Okay, we didn't need to bring that up. Right? When you're down by 80, you got to start throwing the damn ball, even if it's your halfback. Okay?
Yeah, even if your running back wants to be a quarterback.
Yeah, whatever. Like when desperate times calls for desperate measures, you do what you can, and that's what Cam did. Shout out to Cam Scatteraboo. But yeah, I think that's somebody else that we need to address is running backup running.
Oh, George Kittle went to Iowa. Yeah,
he did. Like again, like 30 years ago. I was like, well, it's probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, Laporta. Hey.
Yeah. See.
Okay, let's move on, gentlemen. We're getting way past the topic now. I don't know what we're doing here. We're getting a little too far into this. We're getting a more recent.
Fantasy football draft here.
Going back to personnel, is there anybody else from a defensive perspective? I don't know if you guys know names or positions. Any other positions you think we could address in the draft? There's one more position where I think we can take somebody, third to fifth round that I think would help this team out significantly.
Well, I mentioned linebacker Jahai Campbell. I know you guys got some good linebackers as well over there in Texas, and I know I've seen with
not this year.
Notre Dame I've seen Notre Dame got good linebackers as well too.
I think next year we'll have some good linebackers. You might get an undrafted guy from Texas at linebacker, David Benda, but he's small, he's undersized. He's more of a special teams guy in the NFL. There is somebody, I'm curious to hear what you have, Ryan. There is somebody else I do like at linebacker, but I'm curious to hear what you're going to say.
Look at this right here.
I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, we get it, Chad. Iowa has tight ends. It's their only form of offense that they don't use. I'm sorry. I'm bad.
I mean, another name.
Man, y'all really coming after me. I'm the host, man. I'm the one that's, sets the tone here, not the chat.
Yes, sir.
Another name that I would throw out there is the cornerback out of Notre Dame. He got injured earlier in the season, Benjamin Morrison. He was their best cornerback on the field. And then you also, from Ohio State, you have Denzel Burke, another cornerback. And I personally and if you want to throw this out there, since we are on Iowa, Sebastian Castro.
I mean, well, that's defense, right?
Yeah, they got good defense.
Hey, defense. Iowa's got a good defense, man. Iowa's got a good defense. I'll take defender. Listen, offensive lineman and defense, and I guess tight ends because they're all in this weird tight end factory. Now everybody went to Iowa if they were a tight end. But no, I do like the Morrison pick. When did he get hurt? Because that dude was that. Listen, if they had him, and by the way.
Don't you do it?
Why? Why did Notre Dame go man? Why did they go man to man on Jeremiah Smith? Like what were they thinking?
First of all, Benjamin Morrison got injured in Week 7 against Stanford. Go ahead
was
and
that long ago?
address that. Yeah,
Dang.
it was a hip injury.
Oh, jeez.
And why did they go man?
Especially in the last play.
Because Notre Dame had been having a hell of a time all game long trying to get to Will Howard. That was their
Yeah, they
biggest
had no
issue.
pass.
That and they couldn't stop Quinshad Jenkins.
Yeah,
And
true.
but here's the thing. I know both teams were beat up as the last game of the year, but when you have
Like-
Xavier Watts hobbled, you have your best cornerback out, you have your best defensive lineman out, you have no offensive weapons besides Greathouse, who had been the most inconsistent wide receiver throughout the entire season. We never had a number one wide receiver. It was Faison, it was Greathouse, then it was Evans. You didn't know which one you were going to get. And then our greatest weapon of all, not Leonard, but Jeremiah Love, 4 carries, like 5
That
yards.
was weird too. How did that dude only have 4 carries?
It's just like every game, man. When you run this type of run first offense and you get behind 21-7, 28-7, you can't be running the ball like that. You know, they obviously knew that Leonard was going to get that yardage, but during the entire second quarter, I don't know what happened to Leonard, but he completely disappeared once he was thrown up on the sideline. But
Yeah, because he ran the ball like 86 times on the first drive.
it was 9 carries, okay? 9.
Like, he ran like they ran 18 plays and 50% of them was him running up the middle trying to get a first down. This is my problem. It's not that those guys were injured. It's like I get that, right? This is my problem. When you know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen.
3rd and 11.
And you give no safety help over the top on a guy, by the way. I forget the guy's name. Gray, that's his name. He was terrible all game one-on-one on Jeremiah Love. Listen, if you bracket Jeremiah Love, you can shut him down. You know how I know that? Because I saw it with my own 2 eyes. One
Listen.
catch, 3 yards. I saw it for 60 minutes.
Everybody
You have
thinks
to bracket it.
everybody thinks that Notre Dame is getting these 5-star blue chippers. They're not.
It's the
A good
scheme, bro.
consideration of their team was 3-star players. Great.
Was it really?
A 3-star
Notre Dame
player.
was like really good at recruiting.
Not when you, dude, we all know that the modern football in college right now is
Oh, y'all
100%
don't pay any money?
NIL. If you don't pay them, they ain't gonna come. And
Time to
so
start paying up, bro.
and so with Notre Dame, if you look at the NIL collective, which I did earlier in the season, Notre Dame paid a little under $8 million, and we all know that Ohio State paid $20 million. You know, Ohio State had the depth, they had the players, they had the
They
5-star
really
blue
did.
chip prospects. We all knew that it was going to be an uphill battle with Ohio State, and you couldn't have any mistakes, and everything had to flow seamlessly, and it just didn't happen. You know, I give it to Notre Dame for not having
That's a
another
great season.
national championship where they lost by 98,000 points and they climbed back. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. And it was never going to be enough unless Leonard just had Jesus throwing the football for him, because he's not an accurate passer. We saw it throughout the entire season. He never passed. He never had a single game where he passed for 250 yards. Like,
Oh,
Well, I would
if
say this
he
too.
can learn that this offseason, Notre Dame could be really good against it again.
oh, he's out.
Also,
He's a
by the
senior.
way, do you mind sending Jaden Greathouse home? I really appreciate it.
I would
I
appreciate
would
it
say this.
if-
I would say this too, is that we all knew this. We all knew that Ohio State had all the 5 stars, especially all from the transporter and all that, and so they was destined to win. It just depended on who they played, but they was destined to win in this game because they had all the 5 stars. Like Caleb, they when they got all type. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, who is a freshman. They had the talent. They had the talent. It was up to Ryan Day and William Howard, and they made the plays to get to where they at, and ultimately win the game when they needed to. because that play was huge on 3rd and 11.
Listen, if Steve Sarkisian doesn't run a toss sweep on 2nd down, Notre Dame's not playing Ohio State. They're playing Texas. And they would have still lost. But
I told
They
you,
would have won that game.
I told you
no,
that
they would have still lost. But
I told
don't
you
know
that,
about
that linebacker knew Quinn Ewers' tendencies. He knew that. I get what you're saying for as the play calling, but he knew Quinn Ewers' tendency because he played for Ohio State as well, so he knew.
Anyway, I don't want to rip open my heart. Okay, let's just move on.
I just have one more thing to say about Will Howard, and I'm going to be talking about it on my live stream tomorrow. But I just want to add this little tidbit. He is not a first-round pick, and anybody that says he's a first-round pick does not know ball. I've been seeing that everywhere today. And y'all, I don't know if the people that are commenting think he's a first-round pick. He's not a second-round pick. He's not a third-round pick. I saw him.
I give him third round. I give him third and fourth round. I give him those two.
I have him in the 4th round.
I saw him for 3 seasons at K-State, and he made mistake after mistake after mistake. Same mistakes. He never learned. He has the Peyton Manning feet, but the big difference between Peyton Manning and him is he gets scared in the pocket. And guess what? In the NFL, you're not going to have the Ohio State wide receivers, tight ends. You're not going to have this dual
going
threat
one-on-one on 3rd down
in the backfield with you. You're not going to have all of these players to be able to mask your mistakes, and that was the big difference between K-State and Ohio State. K-State has 3-star players on their roster, and we all know what Ohio State plays.
Yeah,
$20 million.
Thank you.
For
I 100% agree. I don't think. Listen, Will Howard is not that good. I watched Will Howard for 3 years at hell. My team beat Will Howard 4 times in 3 years. I know how he's not that good. And the last time it took a miracle when they played a backup quarterback to do it. Right? Like, listen.
Right.
But here's the thing. Quarterback is such a valuable position in the NFL. Somebody's going to jump. And a run like Will Howard had is going to make him jump. Now, how high
Jaguars,
is what's going to be important. You know who else jumped up like that I didn't think that was that good? Bo Nix. But he ended up being really good. Bo Nix took a huge jump. And Bo Nix and Will Howard kind of have the same profile where Bo Nix didn't do diddly squat at Auburn. He goes to Oregon where he has all this talent. He looked really good.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, he shoots up draft boards.
Well, Bo Nix also at Denver has an incredible quarterback guru as a coach, so that was saying. Perfect.
So it's gonna be based off of where he ends up going.
Yeah,
if he ends up in the wrong situation,
I hope he goes to the Titans.
Me too. Hey, number 1 pick, go for it. Will Howard.
Go to the Titans. Yeah, Will Howard.
We got really off topic there, Josh. You had a quick thought.
You asked a question.
You said you had a thought.
Oh no, like I said, I mean, I get that 3rd or 4th round, but not first round. He's not a first round quarterback at all.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think people need to calm down, but he's going to have draft boards. That's just the nature of the reality. That's the world that we live in. Speaking of flying up draft boards, we would like somebody to throw up a draft board. Okay, I don't know what I was trying to do, but Anthony Richardson starts working with Chris Hess. For those of you guys that don't know Chris Hess, let me put it very simply to you. Chris Hess is the same quarterback specialist that worked fundamentals for Josh Allen. You guys know we do it, get it in the draft. Anthony Richardson is most compared to Josh Allen. If you think back to Sunday's game, that deep ball that Josh Allen throws on a dime, I think on a 3rd down, like that's what we know Anthony Richardson can do. But if you think about some of the throws Josh Allen makes in the intermediate and short game, this is where Anthony Richardson really needs some help. And it's not like you can't get the ball there. Like getting the ball there is one issue. It's more about his footwork, his fundamentals, So, what do you guys think about Chris Hess, and how do you guys think it will help or hurt Anthony Richardson? We'll start with you.
I mean, if you really want to dive into it a little bit, Josh Allen, his first season, he completed 53% of his passes. Second season, 58% of his passes. And really, Anthony Richardson, he's a little bit lower than that. But he obviously needs to have more touch on his passes when it comes to the intermediate and the short passes. But I look at it like this: that the big thing with Anthony Richardson, and it has been well documented uh, through Indianapolis. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to see if he's actually going to put in the work, because I don't believe, like, you have Buckner calling him out, saying that certain people need to be acting a certain way, need to be playing a certain way, need to be putting in more effort. Uh, I just I don't think that Anthony Richardson is part of the mold that we're used to. When it came to Andrew Luck, John Gruden has said this plenty of times. He was the perfect quarterback. He came into the league, and the first thing he asked was, "I want to see some tape of the Texans defense," because at the time the Texans defense was a vaunted front seven, and that he wanted to study. And the same thing with Peyton Manning. They were study worms, like they studied nonstop. And I'm obviously not in that building, but I have seen their first 2 years, probably a year and a half of play. I'm not sure he's doing that, and I'm not sure that he's progressing the way the organization is expecting him to. And we're obviously not there in the off season and during those workouts or whatnot, but is he actually working? And I don't know. I hope that working with Chris Hess is going to help things out, because obviously it helped out Josh Allen tremendously. Like, he wouldn't be the quarterback who he is today without his help. But he's going to have to put his head to the grinding stone and just work relentlessly, because if there's one thing that I have predicted since the season ended, the Colts are going to bring in competition at that quarterback position. And it's not going to be a Joe Flacco type where you got 15 plus years of experience. It's not going to be somebody like that. It's going to be somebody that's going to either push Anthony Richardson to the brink, or it's going to be this type of sink or swim situation.
Gosh,
I agree. A lot of what Ryan said is pretty much what I was going to say. He just had to put the work. He had to put the work in. Just can't, And a lot of Chris Ballard said, a lot of guys that came back last year, a lot of guys were complacent. They knew they had the job. Where they gave him the starting job the past 2 seasons, and they gave him the C on his chest as a captain, and did he earn it? It was given to him, but did he earn it? Yeah, he beat out Gardner Minshew. Yeah, he beat out Flacco. But like Ryan said, bring in competition to push him to be better. If he's going to be our franchise guy, or push him to be out the door to get a new guy, or the guy that replaces him that's already in the building. Who knows that? But we need the competition, because he possibly is complacent. Having said, Chris Hess will assist in his throwing motion to help him be more accurate, because he's not an accurate quarterback. Far as the previous quarterbacks we had, those are pro quarterbacks. And I think a lot of quarterbacks coming out now are mobile, can run for the first down. As you saw in the championship game, both quarterbacks were running, and so a lot of quarterbacks are mobile. They're going to run. You want the guys that throw 200 to 300 yards a game. That's not really where we at anymore. Like we were 4 or 5 years ago with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Everybody, was throwing for 300, 400 a game. That's not where we at now. But having a young guy that's 22 years old, he have to be have to be taught. Yeah, he did get called out by Kenny Moore. He got called out by Buckner, list other guys, for his work ethic. He got to put the work in. If he wants to work out with Hess, he has to go, travel to Hess and work out, put all the hours in, and learn his throwing motion. redo that his mechanics to be a better accurate quarterback. But the thing we didn't mention is he got to be healthy. He got to be on the field uh, and able to play 17 games. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time and possibly have to get another quarterback that's going to be able to play 17 games and perform at a high level. Not greatness, but at a high level for Colts football.
Yeah. Don't worry, AR, if this doesn't work out, bro, Arch Manning's coming back to town. Don't worry about it.
I mean, there's 2 years left on his contract, so I mean, I know
Arch will be
all
at,
of the
Arch will
Colts
be at Texas
community
for 2 years.
wants
We're good.
Arch Manning. Like,
Yeah.
I
Arch will
I
be at
want Arch Manning. I haven't seen him
good.
play very many snaps in college,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Right.
The timeline is perfect. Arch will be at Texas for 2 more years. Anthony Richardson has 2 more years on his contract. Let's ride. Yeah, just a couple comments here real quick that I just was curious about. Yeah, we sucked at the quarterback position. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Besides the Philip Rivers year, which even was like a roller coaster, it's been kind of abysmal.
No.
No.
I would say
I
this.
would not be upset at Justin Fields. I actually would not be upset at Justin Fields. I think this is one of those options where it's like bring in a guy that's younger, who's actually going to push you, who's now been in a organization that knows how to prepare, that has a regiment, that has a structure, that's going to force Anthony Richardson to have some true competition. I think Justin Fields can come in and challenge Anthony Richardson
Right.
at the right level and teach him how to be a pro because he's kind of thrown in this bad situation vaguely, right? I mean, obviously it was a mid-round pick, but I think their stories are very, very similar. I think Justin Fields would be fine. I think that might actually work out.
I mean, that's a lot that you can use with him on the field. You can use it, like you said, last episode, use both quarterbacks on the field.
Great show, guys. Thanks, Teresa. I called you, Josh. Yeah. Oh, you remembered. Yeah. See, Teresa, I didn't know. I didn't know if you remember this. But yeah, she did call. You did call Josh Chris last time. He was very upset. He was crying after the show. He was.
Yes.
We had to ship him some tissue. I think he's doing good. You are the man, Josh. And I want I will let you guys know how it goes. But I can let you know that there's a lot of excitement around the quarterback room at Texas. It's what we've been waiting for.
No.
If you want Anthony Richardson to learn how to throw interceptions, I'm all for it.
I would say Tyrod Taylor. Man, he's a veteran with the same skill set.
No, too old. Listen, I'm done doing the old thing. I'm so done.
What about okay? This is not this name I'm throwing out there just because just talking shit. But far as pushing quarterback, and I know he's not the best, but I know he's somewhat though decent. Sam Howell. It's not
No. Sam Howell's not going to push him. Sam Howell's terrible. If we're talking about guys that are going to push him, we need guys that are actually going to like make him like sweat, like honestly. And Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, these are guys that are going to make him sweat a little bit. Like,
yeah.
There's only 2 guys that I can see on this free agency list.
Yeah.
And it's Justin Fields. And that's what you go draft a young guy. Right? You go draft like Jackson.
Oh, so lives as a backup.
Listen here, Mayo boy, Michael. Shout out to Michael Newsom. Go drink some whiskey, my guy. We don't need your interception. We don't need your interception. But yeah, I think I think you need somebody like that, and then a Jackson Dart in the draft.
Yeah, I like Jackson Dart. He definitely gonna push to start.
Yeah. But I think just getting back mechanics wise, I think mechanics is fine. I think he needs to work on his mechanics. He needs to develop a softer touch, right? Like that's something he needs to develop. Josh Allen had to do it. Like throw with pace, but throw with touch at the same time. And it's something that's it's hard to do. I don't claim to be an expert at that, but you can even now, like when Josh throws those intermediate throws, you can tell that there's still that zip, but there's touch to this as well, right? And if you can get that, I think you're
Well,
fine. I think for me, regardless, and Ryan touched on it, you got to stay healthy. You have to play 17 games this year.
yep.
No excuses. There's no tapping out. There's no tiredness. There's no, I have to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom before the game. I don't want to see no stuff. Right? Obviously, emergencies happen. I'm joking, but he's played less than 50% of all potential starts in his first 2 years. That's not like that as your franchise quarterback is not. Um, and Teresa, real quick, are y'all going to be on Thursday after the DCS conference? No, I just checked my schedule and I have a couple meetings, so I won't be.
We'll probably do maybe a short YouTube short, but as far as have an episode, probably not.
Yeah, Teresa, just go to our YouTube. I'm sure Josh will post a short or something along those lines. If we need to do an emergency pod like this weekend or something, we can do that. Or we'll just break it down next week. I don't think any of us are available to do that, unfortunately. But hey, maybe one day if you subscribe to the channel, like and subscribe and comment, one day we will be able to cover that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So, but yeah, keep an eye on our socials. I'm sure we'll put something. No, we do not.
We'll head out. Sure.
We do not have any plans. But all right, Josh, we appreciate you joining in. I think for Anthony Richardson, it's just about staying healthy. I can't really fathom him doing anything if he can't stay healthy. I don't think.
I can't hear you.
I can't really fathom him doing anything if he can't stay healthy.
Yes, that's first and foremost. You got to stay healthy in order to put that work in. That's where the results going to come in at. If not, we're just wasting our time. He wasting his, where he wasting our time, and possibly have to move on and get a different quarterback.
Yeah, and he's got to put in the work. Like you can't have your franchise. Listen, whether you're 20 or 200, right? This is the position that you're in. This is the position that you were given, and this is the position you have to live up. You have to live up to being criticized for every little thing. You are the franchise quarterback for an NFL franchise, biggest sport in the nation, with one of the more well-known franchises out there, that has one of the most iconic quarterbacks in the history of the league. You can't come in here tapping out of games because you're tired. Like that just doesn't. It's not going to work.
Nope.
And this organization will move on from you. You look at Carson Wentz. They traded first round picks and got rid of him after a Jaguars. Like they will. This organization will move on from you. So it's really the ball's really. I'm not saying I don't believe in him. I'm not saying I do believe in him. Right now, if you're asking me honestly, like I'm 50-50 on him. I'm not for him. I'm not against him. But I think there's still upside. I can see the upside. I see the moments. I need to see some consistency. I need to see you play. I need to see you do some things that for more than 1 quarter a game. Like that's unacceptable to me. This doesn't help this team. So I think that's where I'm at with Anthony Richardson. But yeah, I think it's exciting that he's taking steps. And we'll see how serious he can be.
I
All right,
agree.
gentlemen, that is all the stuff. What you got, Josh?
I got nothing but support for the team. Hopefully, with our GM, led by our GM, that he does what he does for us building the defense for his new toy in DC, and then help out his quarterback after working out with his throwing specialist, get him a tight end if he's there, Tyler Warren, and keep building this team until the team that we thought it would be, and from 2018 up until now, should be a team that should be contending. Not saying it's win the Super Bowl, but be in that contention with like the Bengals or the Bills or every year. But right now we're still chopping wood.
At minimum, we should be winning the division.
Yeah.
More than 0 times.
Yeah.
being in the playoffs more than once, right? Yeah, I watched the Texans on Saturday. Nothing about them scares me. It still doesn't scare me, right? That team can be had. That team was had twice, and we just couldn't finish the job. So this division is the worst division in the league for a reason. Maybe second.
Mhm.
There's not any good teams in this division. Don't let the Houston Texans beating up on bad teams fool you. Every team they played that was a playoff contender, they got beat. So we're not that far behind Houston. But it also doesn't take you 9 years to build a team. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody tells me. The Commanders did it in 8 months. It's that simple.
Right. 1 year.
They did it
And
in
they-
8 months.
And
I
they
don't
still
care if
got
they got a new owner. I don't care what they did. They did it in 8 months.
and they still got 93 million in cap next year.
And Jaden Daniels is just a rookie.
Yeah,
So take with that what you will. The Detroit Lions turned around in 2 years.
they still suck, but yeah.
I mean, 14 and 15 and 2, 14 and whatever the hell they went. 14 and 3 is a hell of a lot.
I'm sorry. That quarterback sucks. I'm not the team. I'm sorry. The quarterback sucks. Throwing 5 picks.
That's debatable. We can have a debate.
Yeah.
Their quarterback had a bad game. I would agree to it. I'm not going to say that. He's played very well. Like, you don't go 14 and 3 and say, yeah, when that quarterback is thrown for over 4,000 yards.
I get credit with
100%.
it too.
And they beat some very good teams. It's not like they beat a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah.
So, but that's neither here nor there. Gentlemen, any final thoughts for the night as we get out?
None for me.
All right. Josh, wrap it up. Where can the people find you?
You can find me here every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern time. I don't know what the Monday shows coming back or not, but you'll find me on the main podcast whenever we restart that next year.
And Ryan, where can we find you?
You can find me Hot Zone Sports on all social medias. If you want to follow my my Twitter, which is my personal Twitter, it's HZS Ryan Van Dever. And if you are not doing anything tomorrow, go ahead and tune into my podcast. Me and my son are going to be doing a live stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, covering all of the divisional games that happened over the weekend and the college football playoff championship, along with a lot of NFL coaching carousel news that's been going on. Just a little sneak peek. Deion Sanders. Hey. So
All
go ahead
right.
and tune in on Facebook. We're going to be live streaming on Facebook, Twitter. I can't get YouTube up because my streaming service apparently doesn't want to work. I'm not going to call them out. Nope. I'm going to do it.
That's at Hot Zone Sports, correct?
That is correct. Hot Zone
Right.
Sports.
Well, you guys go follow Ryan. He will be live tomorrow at 7 p.m. with his son. I'll break down all the playoffs. Of course, you guys can find me at the Uncle Gandhi every weekend. What am I even talking about? You can follow me at the Uncle Gandhi on Twitter. Of course, I'm here every Tuesday with the boys. Every Thursday, Texas Longhorns fan battle follow us there as well. And yeah, we're in the bulk of the off season. I think we'll be taking a break. Is it starting this weekend? Right, starting next week. We will be gone for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Right, through the Super Bowl. We might do an episode after the Super Bowl, but then we're going to break, and then we will be back beginning March, getting ready for draft season.
Yes.
Big draft. Big draft. Get your raw scores ready. 9.0 and below is unacceptable. Get your raw scores ready. We will be back.
I agree.
Ryan,
On 1 house snap, it's a fact that I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, calling audible. Serving up the